They were singing Happy Birthday while I was standing at my husband's funeral. That was the exact moment I realized I didn't belong to this family anymore. If that line made your heart stop, you need to hear the rest. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This story will shake you to the core. I called them the night James died. My voice cracked as I said, "He's gone." There was a long silence, and then Mom said, "We're still going ahead with Chloe's birthday dinner tomorrow. She's been looking forward to it for weeks." That was it. No comfort. No, "we'll be there." Just cake and candles. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the empty side of my bed and tried to believe this was real. The man I built my life with, the only person who made me feel truly seen, was gone. And my own family acted like I had canceled. Lunch plans, not buried my heart. The next evening, I sat alone. No one showed up at the service. Not my mother, not Chloe, not even my dad. My sister had posted party selfies with a caption, "Best birthday ever," as if my world wasn't collapsing in silence. 3 days later, Chloe texted, "Are you over it yet? Mom says we should come by for brunch." My hands trembled. Over it? As if grief had an off switch. But I said nothing. Not yet. They thought I'd just sit quietly and take it, the way I always had. What they didn't know was that James left behind more than just memories. And when that lawyer walked into the family room with the will in his hand, they had no idea how much their little brunch plans were about to burn. They were all sitting in Mom's living room, laughing like it was just another lazy Sunday. Chloe was talking about her upcoming trip to Greece, bragging about her birthday, gifts, a designer bag, a spa weekend, even a luxury watch Dad had gifted her. No one asked how I was doing. No one even looked at me. Then the door opened, and in walked Mr. Talbot, James's lawyer. He held a black leather folder and nodded at me. The room went quiet. Mom blinked. "Rachel, why is James's lawyer here?" I looked straight at her. "He has something to read." Chloe rolled her eyes. "A will? Seriously? What is there to divide? That man barely had a car." Mr. Talbot cleared his throat. "Actually, that's not true. James had a very specific, detailed will, and per his instructions, it's to be read to the family, all of you." Dad sat up straighter, suddenly more interested. "Let's hear it then." Mr. Talbot opened the file and began. "To my beloved wife, Rachel, who stood beside me through everything. You already know what I've built. You were part of every late night, every early morning. You deserve everything. That's why I'm giving you full control of the company, all my assets, and the lake house." Mom gasped. "What company?" Chloe raised an eyebrow. "What lake house?" I didn't say a word. I let Mr. Talbot keep reading. "To my in-laws, since you've never once asked what I really did for a living and judged me for years, I thought I'd enlighten you. I was the co-founder of Vortex Solutions, valued last year at $85 million. The home you called small was just where Rachel and I chose to live, quietly. But we had others." Dad suddenly looked like he'd swallowed a knife. "Wait, Vortex? The tech firm that—" Mr. Talbot nodded. "Yes, that one." Chloe stammered, But why would he hide all this?" I finally spoke. "Because he wanted to see who was real. And now he knows." Mr. Talbot continued. "As for Chloe, my sister-in-law, I have left you something too. A little note." He pulled out a folded letter and read, "Dear Chloe, I saw how you acted the night I died. The birthday party, the photos, the caption. You may get all the attention now, but attention doesn't pay bills. And respect isn't given, it's earned. So I've left you exactly what you gave me. Nothing. Chloe's mouth dropped open. Mom tried to speak, but her voice cracked. Talbot closed the file. That concludes the reading. And then, I stood up. I'm moving out of this fake family circle. James gave me everything, not just money, but strength. And I won't waste another second trying to belong to people who never showed up when it mattered. The silence that followed, it tasted like victory. I walked out of that room feeling lighter than I had in years. For the first time, I wasn't chasing their approval. I was walking away from it. I moved back into the house James and I had shared. It was small, yes, but every corner had a memory. The crack in the kitchen tile where he once dropped a pan while trying to cook breakfast for me. The bookshelf he built by hand, even though it leaned slightly to the left. The back porch where we used to sit on rainy nights, sharing secrets and dreams. It was our home, and now it was truly mine. Over the next few weeks, everything changed. Mr. Talbot helped me sort out the business side of things. Turns out, James had protected me in ways I never knew. He had life insurance policies, real estate, silent investments, and most shockingly, he'd set up a trust in my name with enough money to never work again. If I didn't want to. But I did want to. James had believed in me more than anyone else ever had. So, I decided to build something in his honor. A scholarship fund for students like him. Quiet, overlooked, underestimated. I called it the JL Fund. Every time I looked at that name, I smiled. As for my family, they tried to reconnect. Mom called, her voice softer than I'd ever heard. Rachel, can we talk? I didn't know. I didn't realize how much he meant to you. I stayed quiet, for a moment before answering. You didn't try to know, she sighed. I just want things to go back to the way they were. I shook my head, even though she couldn't see it. That's the thing, Mom. They never should have been that way in the first place. Then Chloe messaged me. A long paragraph filled with half apologies and questions about the trust, the company, the money. I replied with a single sentence. Don't mistake regret for change. And Dad? He didn't reach out. Not once. And somehow that was the most honest thing he'd ever done. One evening, months later, I stood by the lake house James had secretly bought for us. It was beautiful. Calm waters, pine trees, and a wraparound porch, just like he'd always wanted. I sat in the rocking chair, a cup of tea in my hand, as the sun dipped behind the hills. I whispered into the quiet air. You were right, James. They only came for what they thought you could give them. But you? You gave me everything. And they'll never understand that. And in that moment, I didn't need anyone else to understand. Because I did. And that was enough. A year passed. The seasons changed. Grief softened. And slowly joy crept. Back in, not loud or dramatic, but steady and real, like the way sunlight slowly warms a cold room in the morning. I transformed the lake house into something beautiful. Not just for me, but for others too. I opened it as a retreat for people navigating loss, a quiet place to rest, reflect, and rebuild. I called it Second Light, because that's what James had given me. The light after the dark. People came from all over. Widows, young people who had lost parents. Quiet souls who didn't know where else to go. And as they sat by the fireplace or walked the tree-lined paths, I saw the same thing I had once felt. The slow awakening of hope. Every letter I received thanking me. Every whispered, I thought I was alone. Reminded me that what James gave me didn't end with his life. It echoed. It expanded. One afternoon, I found an old journal of his in a box tucked away in the attic. On the last page, he had written something I had never seen before. If you're reading this, it means I'm gone. But don't cry for me too long. Grieve, yes, but then live. Really live. I loved you more than I ever said out loud, but I hope you felt it anyway. And if the world turns cold, remember, you were always my warmth. I clutched that notebook to my chest, tears falling silently. Not because I was broken anymore, but because I had been loved so deeply, so completely, that it left a mark nothing could erase. My family? They faded into the background of my life. No grand reunions, no redemption arcs. Just distance and peace. I learned that closure doesn't always come with apologies. Sometimes it comes with choosing yourself. Finally, unapologetically. As the sun set over the lake that evening, I sat on the porch, wrapped in a shawl, watching the orange sky reflect off the still water. James was gone, but his love, it was still here, in the quiet, in the light, in me. Sometimes, family is not who shares your blood, but who chooses you, sees you, and believes in you when no one else does. Rachel lost her husband, but she found herself. And in the end, that was the greatest inheritance of all.